Hi everyone. We welcome you all today for this session on leveraging AI/ML to extract key insights from medical data. So let me introduce myself. I am Kaushik Rajendran, Solutions Architect and Healthcare and Life Sciences Specialist from Amazon Internet Services Private Limited. With me, I also have Arun Kumar Lokanatha, who is AI/ML Specialist Solutions Architect from Amazon. And we also have with us Gaurav Malhotra, who is a solutions architect who will be helping you with any chat, right? Okay. So, I mean, as you have seen, healthcare has become one of this India's largest sector, right? Both in terms of revenue and also in terms of employment. And healthcare ecosystem largely consists of hospitals, laboratories, I would say diagnostic centers, medical devices, clinical trials, tourism, medical tourism, insurance, medical equipments, and more importantly, patients at the core. And Indian healthcare sector is growing at a brisk pace due to all this strengthening coverage and services, and also increased expenditure by public as well as private players, right? So with this, let's talk about objective for today's session. So today we will learn how to build some of the most common use cases in the healthcare industry by leveraging artificial intelligence and machine learning, right? So today we'll be talking about how to build a medical image analysis solution, and also to build an interactive and also conversational agent using some of the AI and ML services. And then we will also talk briefly about how to build a medical document processing solution, and also to improve personalization, I would say end user experience by kind of using personalization, right? So the table of content broadly is, we will first talk about healthcare at AWS, right? And then we will talk about AI and ML on AWS. And then we will talk about the 4 demos, which is medical image analysis. We'll have a demo that Arun will give us today. And then we will talk about personalization of consumer experience. And then we will talk about building conversational agent, which will be a demo. And we will finally talk about extracting insights from medical documents. And then finally, we will also talk about how can you get started with all of these ideas, importantly, right? All right. So before I move on to the further discussion, I would like to quickly start with a poll. This is very important for us being from India. Do you know that, we have Unified Health Interface, or UHI, launched in India? How many of you are aware before I ask you this question? I'll let the panelists to kickstart the poll, and you would have 45 seconds to answer it. It's okay. You can keep yourself honest here. So just about the UHI, it's basically an open and interoperable IT network for digital health infrastructure in India. It is envisaged and planned to bring under our National Digital Health Mission. And it will basically enable all these private and public apps to kind of interoperate with each other and share data in a structured format, right? It kind of brings an ease of interchanging the data and also aggregating most of these services across. All right, thanks for taking time. Now let's look into healthcare at AWS. I know you'd have heard a lot about what AWS, and we are world's most comprehensive and broadly adopted cloud platform. And importantly, in the healthcare itself, we have over 7 years of dedicated practice in healthcare vertical. What do I mean by that is, we have a team of digital strategists, chief medical officers, and I would say researchers, physicians, radiologists, and various stakeholders from healthcare ecosystem, part of our team, right? We work with our customers to help them scale and leverage the best out of healthcare, right? And if you look at average years of experience in healthcare market, we have over 70 plus years of each and every resource that we have, right? So there are 5 key areas that we focus when it comes to healthcare. One is our global infrastructure, right? It is very important to have a large and reliable global infrastructure. And the next is security, which is a job zero for us, right? We understand that helping our customers comply with the regulation is very important. So for example, we support several frameworks like HIPAA, which is we have over 130 services that are eligible for HIPAA, and we support GXP, GDPR, etc. And also putting analytics I would say, advanced analytics and machine learning in everyone's hand, because you would end up generating a lot of data eventually by building any system, but you should have a cost effective and also a highly scalable solution to handle all of this data, right? And finally, to create an impactful enterprise level solution that will help you solve most pressing challenges. And importantly, we also have this vibrant partner network who can add value to where you need some help. So, I mean, again, we have this, these are some of our customers with whom, who are from healthcare segment, with whom we are working actively as of now, right? And some references from Indian context as well. So for example, we work with startups like Buddhimed, and we have case studies published by Practo some time ago. And in fact, we work with 1MG, and in fact, there is a blog that is published which talks about building healthcare data vault kind of a thing, right? If you look at Buddhimed, I think they spoke in our recent summit, AWS summit recently, about extracting medical information from clinical notes that was further used for like, certain process in the claims, etc. Right? So with that, let me ask you another question to understand what kind of, I would say, audience are you, so that like, it will help us to kind of take this conversation further. So the poll question is, what kind of healthcare startup are you from? It doesn't have to be one. As we spoke, there are broadly various subsegments within healthcare itself, right? You could be a healthcare provider, essentially hospital, super clinic, you could be a corporate hospital, etc. And you could be part of healthcare ISVs, EMR, EHR, LIS, RIS, ERP, and various other solutions. Or you could also be from diagnostics, or you could be from telemedicine, and telemedicine could be virtual consult, etc. Or digital therapeutics, which talks about personalization of a treatment plan, etc., insurance and other use cases. So feel free to select based on wherever you're from. All right. Thanks, folks. Now let's look into the AI/ML for healthcare and how that AI/ML can be used to improve patient outcomes, right? Essentially, it's all about improving patient outcomes, right? So we can broadly group challenges in healthcare in three functions, which is namely consumer interaction, core workflow, and compliance. Let's take consumer interaction, right? The challenge is to keep users engaged, right? And healthcare players want to improve a great patient experience, keeping them engaged. And this is not only common specific to healthcare, it is widely common to other segments as well. We want to find intuitive ways to hear users of concern, feedback, and act on it proactively than being reactive. The next is on the core workflow, which is essentially the core business area for any startup, right? There are broadly three areas, right? Of course, there are more. So if you look at first one, which is diagnosis, and then comes operation, and then comes the segments like patient care. So this is the area that has core business models of healthcare organization. And some of the common challenges could be to ingest and analyze large amount of structured and unstructured data. Now, what do I mean by structured data? Could be any enterprise data that you store in your database that can be queried and manipulated in ease, whereas unstructured data could be your file, or that patient uploaded a PDF document of medical document, or it could be an audio, a recorded audio file of a patient call, etc. Right? And then it could be a complex machine learning workflows, or it could be a machine learning ops, right? Importantly, it is about acquiring various data from various stakeholders, and that could get complicated down the line. And also, you could see some of the challenges is to meet compliance requirement, right? Even in India, right, we do have certain guidelines that was published by National Digital Health Blueprint about there are certain aspects about privacy and security, and also data protection. I would recommend you to go and take a look at all of those, right? And some of them also refer back to IT Act of India. So having all of this use case, how machine learning can actually help you in solving this problem is what important to learn about. That's what we are going to look at today. If you look at the first segment in consumer interaction, right, we can improve customer engagement by leveraging personalized content right? Based on user behavior, sentiments, etc. You can actually give personalized content, and also you can reduce the time to wait for a user waiting for an agent by simply building a bot that can talk to in a meaningful way engage with your users, right? So you can totally build a digital front door using some of the machine learning or AI services. And if you look at core workflow, importantly, you can AI totally power your diagnostics workflow into AI and machine learning thing, especially medical image analysis is picking up a lot, and we have seen that picking up in teleradiology segment, and also in EHR and other field where all those uploaded X-rays and CTs or even DICOM formats can be processed and using machine learning, etc. Arun will be sharing about some of the use cases and success stories from that particular vertical. And we can talk about medical document processing. And as you can see here, there are various other use cases on which we can actually solve this. And finally, you might think what we can do on security and compliance, right? You can bring in fraud detection and several other aspects to understand the user behavior, user pattern, identify anomalies of user access based on the traffic pattern by leveraging various machine learning models and services that we are offering to you. Now, these are different, I would say, use cases that are broadly there, but of course, it's not just limited to these that we are talking today. There are many more use cases within healthcare and also life sciences segment, right? All right. Now let's get on to the third poll. I know we are having back-to-back poll, apologies, but yeah, we only have 3 more questions after this. So I would like to understand, what is your top use case on AI ML as of today? Please feel free to go and answer based on whatever you are working on today. And if not, just simply leave this one. All right. Thanks. And now let's get to the point, right? So we talked about some of the common challenges in healthcare, and we also talked about how ML can solve those challenges used by having by various means, right? Now let's talk about why AWS for solving these ML use cases. First, it lets you to make sense of data. What do I mean by that? Because using services from AWS, you can understand and extract meaningful information out of raw, disparate health data using advanced analytics and machine learning. And also, some of those are purpose-built capabilities that we have built in our stack. Just to give an idea, right? We generate over 1.2 billion healthcare data nodes that are widely available as disparate record set. And there is a lot of data that is not crunched and which is available for us to crunch out and process data down. The next is using AWS, you can accelerate your pace of innovation, right? Because we help you with giving all those new technologies using which you can reduce cost, drive efficiency, and also adapt to new challenges as it comes. And finally, you can build on a trusted platform by using comprehensive set of cloud services to support your ML workloads with consistent data transparency and also control over your patient's privacy. With that, let me talk about a quick idea of, I'll give you a primer on our ML stack. As you can see here, there are three layers out here. At each layer, we are heavily investing in removing, I would say, heavy lifting from you, our customers, so that you can move faster in all these things. If you look at top segment, which is AI services, this allows our customers and developers to easily add intelligence to your application without needing a machine learning skills, right? Because there are if you look at it, there are a bunch of services that leverage pre-trained models that are ready-made intelligence for your application and workflows depending on your use cases. For example, we have services on vision like recognition using which you can extract data and detect some objects in image, and you can build your own workflow on top of it. If you can look at it, there is a bunch of services that are very specific to healthcare, which we are going to talk about just in a bit. And in the middle layer, we have SageMaker, Amazon SageMaker. So SageMaker provides every developer and data scientist an ability to build, train, deploy machine learning models at scale, right? Sometimes it won't just be enough for you to leverage an AI services, Rather, you may want to build your own custom models and leverage or even build an ML ops workflow. And for all of those use cases, you have Amazon SageMaker. And then for those data scientists who want to totally build, write everything from scratch, we have ML frameworks and infrastructure where we offer some deep learning AMIs. And also we provide some of the core compute power by having GPUs and also a specific chipset for improving your inferencing and other capabilities. So now let's talk about data in healthcare, right? Before even we get into machine learning, the obvious problem is to kind of harness your data and store it in a way that you can actually leverage machine learning on top. If you can see over the past decade, we have witnessed a digital transformation in healthcare with organization capturing huge volumes of all the structured and unstructured data, specifically from patient side and also from various other devices side, right? And and medical data is hugely contextual, and as you can see here, the data could be a clinical note, or it could be a recorded conversation from your phone call, it could be an ECG or EAG data, it could be from any diagnostic device, and lab reports from DICOM service, and also claims, etc. As of now, today's clinical models, most of these models are leveraging, I would say, around 30 or maybe some, in some cases more, but mostly we see that, like, you are leveraging about 30 data points for building a model. But in future, this could scale about 200 to 300K data points for ML models, right? So, for example, you'll be commonly hearing about, like, predicting one's heart risk by using CHAD S2 score, right? Just like, for example, it uses more than around 30 data points commonly available, and it has built like, a model on top of it to predict your like, risk in heart failure, specifically on the congestive heart failure side of it, right? So now, if you look at it, the first problem to look into it is by extracting and understanding the unstructured data. So what do we mean by that, right? This is very generic use case, and I would say most important use case here, because as I told you before, the data in healthcare is available in disparate sources. It could be from your database, it could be from your patient notes, or, like, any other thing, right? Now, how do we make sense of the data? First is we have to extract data from all those files, right? So this is where this kind of services come into picture. So we have a bunch of AI services, like, for example, Amazon Textract, which is our text AI service, and we have services like Amazon Comprehend, etc. So, for example, let's say you have an image like X-ray or anything, right? If you want to know what's there in that image, and this is where you can use something like recognition. And let's say if you want to do an automatic speech recognition and extract entities out of it, this is where we have something like transcribe. And you might see that there are services that are flavored with healthcare, meaning you have transcribe that is general, and you also have transcribe medical that's specific to healthcare. Same way, we also have like, Amazon Comprehend, which is used to detect entities and also build relationship on top of it, which again, I'm going to demo you all of that today. Now, if you look at data extraction, what do I mean by that? Largely, we have data formats like medical forms, images, and audio transcription that are again used to extract, and you can extract using various services that I talked about. And then you can further do a comprehension to understand or to make sense of what was there in that data, right? So first is, let's do a bit of a deep dive into the service called Amazon Textract. Now, what is this service? It lets you extract data from forms in general, but of course, medical forms and everything. And some of the common use case within healthcare is text extraction, right? Meaning you just have to upload a form or something, and Textract kind of extracts a data as a free text, or as a tabular data, or as a form data. And as you can see here in forms, let's say you have a form in paper saying name and Kaushik, let's say, it can detect that as a key value pair, which in turn can help you in building an entity out of it, right? Same way, let's say if it's like a claim or, like, a receipt, and you can extract the whole table, and it will give you a column and row based data which is in a columnar format. Now, let me quickly show you how Textract is gonna look like, right? So as you can see here, when you log into console of Amazon AWS, you can see this sample document. So when you upload this kind of a document, it immediately exports all the raw text format, and then it also extract key value pair. And as you can see here, it's not a straightforward form, properly aligned, etc. And it also has some handwritten notes, and it has properly identified as, for example, full name is Jane Doe and phone number is 555, whatever that is, etc. Now let me quickly upload a sample file. It's that's something like this. So if you look at this file that I'm uploading into Textract, it's not so clear one. Again, this is just a sample that I picked out of it. And then as you can see here, I've kind of masked all the sensitive information. And you see this diagnostic report that I'm uploading is not so clear because it's all pixelated. But yet, if you upload the document into Textract, you see that it has detected key value pair, and also it has detected all those text. If you look at form data, you have, like, data from, for example, ward number and even diagnostics. So using APIs, you can download the data, and downloaded data will look something like this. This is a text data that I downloaded from that file. And let's say I have this data, I can make use of the data for further comprehension of it, right? So now what do we mean by comprehension, right? We talked about a service called Amazon Comprehend, right? In Comprehend, again, this Comprehend is a service that is available in Mumbai region, but there is a service called Comprehend Medical that we talked about, which is not available in India, but it is available in US and some other regions, right? If you see here, what's happening is, this is just a sample data, but let me replace with the data that we just extracted from the file that we uploaded just now. So if you see here, what it does is it detects all these entities, all these diagnoses like pulmonary infiltrates and antimicrobial therapy, which is a treatment. It not only extracts that, it also build a relationship out of it. So what do I mean by that is it extracts and build relationship based on all those ICD-10 and RX norm, and it also build an essential entity ontology mapping on top of it. So for example, let's say in your use case, let me just give, for example, Kaushik uh, had fever and prescribe paracetamol. Now, when I analyze, or let's say if you have sent this data to APIs of Comprehend, it detects that Kaushik has fever, and then it also says there is a generic name of drug, which is paracetamol, and it also mapped the relationship to dosage, which is 500 mg. So this kind of really reduces the burden for you to create such a complex relationship when it comes to ICD and RX norm, and extract the data out of it and also build relationship. And in fact, if you look at Comprehend Medical, there are various APIs which I'll talk about. So for example, we talked about how it builds complex ontology mapping here. So for example, there are various types of diabetes, type 2 diabetes itself, right? I mean, the model has to not only select that it has, the patient has diabetes type 2, but you may have to also pick what kind of type 2 diabetes the patient has. And for that, what it will do is it will go and search for all different entities and will try to map the ontology, and then will help you pick the right one, right? It also gives you confidence score so that you'll know what can be done. There are several use cases that you can build using Amazon Comprehend Medical, right? To perform a medical cohort analysis, to support clinical decisions, and also to improve medical coding. Let's say you have a transcription kind of a workflow. You can use the combination of probably transcribe to extract audio information if it's a doctor-patient interaction, and then you can pass on that data to Comprehend to extract all these codified data. And the same applies for physical document that I just demoed to you right now. And in Comprehend Medical, there are two APIs broadly. One is your named entity relationship extraction API. So let's say I'm sending a data, it extracts all those protected information, like the name, anatomy, medical condition, etc. And this helps you to kind of extract data, and so that way. And you won't need to, there are many APIs, like I said, this is one API, and the other type of API is to extract only the patient health information identification, right, where it extracts only the name, address, and demographic information of patient. You can use relevant API based on the use case and also save cost instead of calling all at one shot and not using it in the right way. So typically you can combine all of these services. For example, we talked about Textract and we talked about Transcribe, which is audio file, using which you can actually push the data to comprehend medical, to extract meaningful entities, and then push that to something like S3, or in fact, you can store that in your relational database, or purpose-built databases like NoSQLs like KeyVal, DynamoDB, and other variant available. And in fact, you can also run queries if data is stored in Amazon S3, or this is simple storage service. You can run queries using services like Amazon Athena. I'll also show that to you just in a bit. We've been talking about another service called Amazon Transcribe Medical previously, right? So this service is basically an automatic speech recognition service that enables developers to extract, I would say it enables speech to text capability, but it also extracts based on medical entity. It's further trained to understand the way the medical documentation or the way the conversation happens in healthcare, and it helps you extract information that meaningful way, right? Just have to start passing in audio stream, and you will receive a stream of text, and you just have to use that in the right way to probably send it to comprehend, to extract value, or etc. And some of the common use cases I've seen that, clinical documentation and drug safety and telemedicine. Like for example, if you want to build a subtitle for your virtual consult or telemedicine use cases, you can leverage something like this. I'm going to talk about one of our new services that got launched very recently, Amazon Health Lake. A lot of our customers are really excited about the service. Again, this is available only in the US at this point. But if you see, Amazon Health Lake is again a HIPAA eligible service that lets healthcare stakeholders to store, transform, and query health data at the petabyte scale, right? Like, for example, what you can do is you can just take the structured and unstructured data and convert to FHIR, which is Fast Health Interoperable Resource Format, and then push it to Health Lake. Now, you might wonder, what is this FHIR format that I'm talking about? FHIR format, for those who don't know, is an interoperable protocol format that is an extension of HL7. And by the way, FHIR is a format that is also kind of recommended national digital. So what happens is it kind of takes the structured data. You just have to convert that to FHIR format. And once you have that in FHIR format, you can push to Amazon Health Lake. And what Health Lake does is it structures your data. So for example, you might be pushing patient data to for example, sporadically from various formats, various sources. But Health Lake helps you to structure all of this data, normalize it, index it, and it creates a chronological or longitudinal patient record for you. And not only that, it also has an NLP that runs on top of it, top of the data, and acts as an extension. I've just shown you how Comprehend Medical works, right? Similar way, there are NLPs that extract data from whatever data. Let's say you have a clinical note from EMR system and you're uploading that, converting that to FHIR format, and then pushing to Health Lake. Health Lake will store the data, normalize it. At the same time, it will also extract by using all these NLP and add this data back as an extension to the FHIR data structure, which you can further export and use it for many AI services. Let me quickly show you how Health Lake looks, right? It's very interesting. And again, Health Lake is a data store, and it's not that visual. You just store the data into Health Lake in FHIR format. You can dump the data into S3, or you can push that in CLI, etc. And once the data is stored, like I said, it's automatically formatted, right? So now you can run FHIR queries. There are specific kind of query that you can run, and you can fetch different kinds of data from FHIR format out here. So I'm just querying the document references that are uploaded to this particular Health Lake store, right? When I run this, it essentially fetches the data, and you see here, there is a base 64 converter data that was uploaded to Health Lake. But then what happens is after the data is uploaded, it has added this extension to your data set, which was not available when you uploaded, right? It essentially adds the extraction of this NLP, which is essentially the ICDs and RxNorm. All those entities are attached to this as an extension, and also all those score and everything is also added to you. So once this is done, then you can use something like Amazon Athena, because this data, whatever is there in Health Lake, can be exported to S3, and in fact, you can use glue crawlers to create a schema and tables, and using which you can query on Athena, which is our service, right? I mean, where you can run SQL like queries on your Amazon S3 data. So here, if you see, I'm running a simple select on the document references combining patient data. So it gives me some of these things. I know it's not so easy to understand, but let me show you a visual way of understanding, right? So using extracted data from Health Lake, you can actually build a patient longitudinal data set, and also something like this where a hospital or I would say a hospital or any group of I would say healthcare providers can specifically analysis on a cohort of patient on various conditions. So here it's a very simple one. I just have total number of patients, different disease conditions, and like you will know what is commonly identified, etc. And the other use case that you can leverage is on building a longitudinal patient record set. If you see here in this graph, I know it's small, let me expand. You have this different kind of data from different patients pushed to Health Lake at different timeline. Whereas in the right hand side, I've simply queried and from Health Lake exported data where it shows the patient name and arranged chronologically or longitudinally by encounter. And within encounter, it has also extracted the past condition out of the data that was uploaded, right? So this is how Health Lake can be leveraged to build a chronological view of patients' medical data, right? This is what we have seen in a graphical way. Now, we've talked about various use cases and various services, right? So just to again iterate on some of those, we talked about, for example, medical image analysis, which is widely using, for example, tools like services like Amazon Recognition, which Arun is going to talk about in a few minutes. And then we also talked about, we will also talk about SageMaker. And then we talked about how Textract and Comprehend Medical can be used to build something like a claims processing and other medical document understanding, which again I'm going to cover down the line. And then we can use services like, for example, Textract and Comprehend Medical Kendra to do clinical notes, and also use something like Transcribe for doing patient call issue detection, right? We have very interesting case studies that are published from our customers like AI Doc, Soundlines, and I would strongly encourage you to go and please take a look at that. With that, let me take a pause, and it's time for a quick poll. It's fourth poll question. Now I'd like to understand, based on our conversation, we talked about it. So which AI services from AWS can help you with automated speech recognition service that lets you convert speech to text? I'll keep quiet. I'll let you answer. All right, that should have been easy. All right, now that the poll is closed, I'll take the liberty to share the answer. It's Amazon Transcribe Medical, which is basically an automated speech recognition tool. With that, let me stop and hand it over to Arun, who will be taking you through medical image analysis use case. Arun, over to you.
Thank you, Kaushik. Welcome, everyone. Let me start sharing my screen. Hello, everyone. My name is Arun Kumar. I'm a machine learning solutions architect at AWS. So what we're going to look at in this section is we're going to see how we can do image analysis pertaining to the medical industry with help of some of our AWS AI services. More into Amazon Rekognition, which is our video and image analysis solution. Before we dive deep into some of the demos and examples, let's look at some of the common use cases which we can leverage Rekognition for. First one is if you have a use case where you want to de-identify medical images, say you have medical images like an X-ray or a MRI scan or a CT scan films, which will have some PHI information or any other information specific and which is personally identifiable, right? You can identify those using Rekognition, and also one of the services that we already spoke about, which is Transcribe, Comprehend Medical. With the combination of both these services, we should be able to identify and mask those values before using this medical image for any research purpose or building additional models on top of it. Second use case which we're going to look at is again, it's a tip of things that we could do with respect to image analysis, which is classifying your medical images, right? So we will look at a couple of examples where we take some images, again like an X-ray or a MRI scan. We will try to learn how to build a system which can classify the, say, like if a X-ray has a pneumonia or not, or if it's a MRI scan, we look at identifying whether there's a tumor present or not, things like this. And last use case where Rekognition can be used in the medical field, if you want to digitally identify patients, right? So this helps you go more towards digitizing the patient experience there, wherein you can use Rekognition to kind of extract patient's face and then compare and verify the identity, right? So it makes a lot easier and the customer experience more seamless. So those are the use cases we'll look into, but I would like to state some of the benefits, right, if you are doing it with Rekognition. So the algorithms that we provide within Rekognition, are the features that we provide. These are state-of-the-art capabilities. We use state-of-the-art deep learning techniques to kind of build these features. Second thing is we continuously keep improving these features, and we try to make sure we train this on more and more data, and also always try to keep it state-of-the-art. And this service doesn't need any machine learning expertise. It's very quick to start and very easy to integrate. We provide SDKs for most popular languages, starting from Python, Java, Node, and so on. So you should be able to quickly integrate and start using these features. And this Rekognition and other services that we spoke about, these are HIPAA compliant, right? So that makes it a lesser headache for people who are trying to implement solutions with us. So let's get into the first demo here, right? The first one is we'll look at how to build a classification or image classification model, which can identify whether there is for a chest X-ray, if there is a pneumonia or not, and also we look at another use case for a MRI, if there is a tumor or not. So what we'll do is we'll first check out the demo. Then I'll talk about basic building blocks. How did we do that? And finally, we'll discuss this architecture that I have presented on the screen. So what I'm going to do here is the first section of the demo is this is a pneumonia classifier, and we will be uploading a chest X-ray image, and based on the image, the model will determine whether there is a pneumonia or not. So the images that I'm using, these are not used for training. These are the images that the model haven't seen, right? So let me upload an image, a normal image. So this was a normal image. Again, I'm not an expert on identifying pneumonia here, but the model was trained on a lot of data, right? And we used about 250 examples for each, and this is able to determine that there is no pneumonia here, and the confidence score of 94%, right? So that's for the normal one. Let's upload. Sorry, I think I may refresh this. So let's upload an image which has a person which has infected or which has traces of pneumonia in that. And we could see there's a detection of pneumonia present, and with a 99.8% confidence, right? Similarly, there is a second demo on this, right? Again, it's a similar kind of classifier. This is trained on MRI images to detect whether there is a tumor or not. And let me upload an image. So this image, there is some tumor present here, and it's detected there is a tumor, and with 99.9% accuracy. So let me add one more file. So this is a regular image. This doesn't contain any tumor. And the model, again, this images that I'm using for testing is not used to train the model. The model is detecting it's about with 98.7% confidence that there is no tumor here. So this is some of the initial preliminary use cases, right, where you can classify things, but there are more we could do, right, with respect to identifying the area where tumor is present. That is where you can build that on top of Amazon SageMaker, which is our ML platform, right? So let's see, now that we have seen the demo, let's see how did we build this, right? So we have built this with a feature called custom labels, right? Amazon Rekognition custom labels, it lets you to build your own classification as well as object detection models. So classification, we saw an example here. It just takes an image and says whether and says and identify and tags that image into a particular category, right? So in our case, we had only two classes. Like say in case of pneumonia, whether it's present or absent. Similarly, in case of tumor, it's present or absent, right? So but you can have more than one class, right? So you can identify multiple things within an image. And it also lets you to do object detection, which is finding a particular section within your image, right? For example, we saw the demo. Say you want to identify where the tumor is present. So you can draw rectangular boxes here and train the model. It can identify that particular area as well, right? So that's an additional step you could do rather just after classifying the model. So you can do both with Rekognition custom labels, and this gives you a guided experience, right? We're going to see in the UI how easy it's to kind of upload your data, annotate that, and build the model. And once you have the data in place, you can train it. I mean, again, you don't need any machine learning expertise. Rekognition uses state-of-the-art deep learning techniques behind the scenes to train a model that fits well for your data. And once you have the model, it's easy to use. You can just deploy the model and invoke it through the API. Again, we provide integration with a lot of popular languages, and we give SDKs for most languages out there. So let's see this, right? So once you can go to the Amazon console into Rekognition. The first thing we need to create is to create a data set, right? So data set for any use case, you need to define a data set. So let's create a data set here, and say I'll just say X-ray data set, right? So we're gonna quickly use one data set here, right? So there are multiple options through which you could upload your data. One is either you could, if you have the data in S3, you can directly pull it in. Or if your data which is present in your local system, you can also upload from there as well, right? To start with. So let's use one example for both. So in this case, I already have data on S3. And one advantage with keeping the data in S3 is if you already have your images segregated into folders, right? In this case, you could see I have two folders. One is normal and second one is pneumonia. And we have put corresponding examples there. So if you already have this data set curated through some mechanisms, you can put them into corresponding folders, and with each folder representing a label, right? You can then Rekognition can automatically pick that up for you. So if I use this and I just say automatically attach the labels, right? It's gonna take the folder name as labels for the images that is present within those folders. And once I do the stuff, I can just submit it. So you could see, since I had segregated it with folders, classification becomes a much easier task, right? So it automatically picked labels for each of these things, and you can start training your model with this. Let's say you want to annotate it, right? Maybe you don't, you want to change the annotation, or maybe I want to do like a bounding box also. So you can assign labels, change it directly through the console as well. Or if you want to identify an area, say for example, uh, specific portion which contains the infection, right? So uh, that's one of the mechanisms, like you want to identify certain parts within this X-ray or something. You can also do the bounding boxes. You can annotate this and train models accordingly, right? That is also another possibility with recognition. So let's not save this. Uh, so now I have the annotations in place. The next step is to create a project, right? So you again go to the project, create it. I can say X-ray model. So I create a project, and yeah, so I created a project and I have a data set, right? So for a project, I can start training a model. When I click on start training a model, you need to select your data set. I can choose the one that we just created, and you can you know, choose to use a different test data set, or you can divide the same data set into training and testing. And you can click on train, right? So when you train this, it's going to take a while to train the model. And it takes about an hour to 2 hours depending on the size of data you have, right? So let's go back and see already trained model. This is something I'd already trained, which you saw on the demo. The same model is this, right? So once that model is trained, you will see something like this, which tells you a lot about this model, right? You could dive in and see like a few parameters that tells you how good your model is. So the first thing is the F1 score. This determines the closer to 1, the better the model is, right? So typically anything more than 0.9 is a good model. So the closer to 1, the better it is. And you can also dive deep with precision and recall, depending on the kind of data volume that you have, right? So to optimize on these things. And So this is the preliminary thing, and you can also look at how many images were used for training and how many were used for testing, right? So we divided the data set. It used 499 for training and for 125 for testing, right? So and you can look at the results, and it gives you pretty good depiction on the test data set, like how many of them are false positives and false negatives, right? So you can look at examples of false positives and false negatives and see where the model is failing, and you can add more data pertaining to that section, right? So and retrain the model to get a even better accuracy. Once you're good with that, once you feel the model is good, it's pretty easy to deploy, right? You get examples here. Either you can start the model directly from the AWS client command line tool, or you can also use the Python scripts which we provide to kind of quickly integrate with your application, right? So to start the model, to invoke it, and also stop the model. So that's the classification thing. So we looked at how recognition can help you quickly build that, right? And let's get back to the slide. And the application, the demo that we saw, this is a web application. We built it with AWS Amplify. Amplify is a service which lets you to build web and mobile applications, and it gives you good integrations with a lot of AWS services. So in this case, it's a React-based web app. It connects to AWS through Cognito, and API gateway. We have this a Lambda function. This, if you look at this, it's mostly a serverless architecture, right? You don't have to manage any servers to kind of build and deploy this. We have a Lambda which takes the incoming image, invokes the recognition deployed model through Python SDK, and it's gonna give you the response back. So let's get to the next second demo, right? Again, this is built using recognition. This is where we will look at how to redact or mask your PHI informations on medical images. Right, so let's put an example. So this, let me show you the source image. So this contains a lot of user-specific information like name, age, date of birth, and also certain personal physical measurements, right? So this we are looking to identify and mask this data, right? And the demo application, it's kind of identifying those, and it's kind of removing, masking those data. So this is pretty useful when you are using the records for research purposes. You need to mask them, or sending it to people. You can mask the data and send these images, right? So let's see how do we build this, right? So again, this is one of the recognition feature. We have again, the serverless. The application uses Cognito and API gateway for authentication and API support. We have a Lambda function that invokes two services here. One is recognition has got a text detection capability. It can identify any text within an image, right? So that's what we are using to identify. If you see, we are using recognition to identify this text within this image. And once we identify the text, we are passing this to Comprehend Medical. So Comprehend Medical has this capability to identify PHI information in your text. That is what we are getting it back from Comprehend Medical. And then we are, using image processing to kind of draw rectangular masks to kind of blur the data out. Right, so that's the implementation. If I want to show how recognition identifies, go to recognition console. You could see, let me try to zoom in. So you could see every possible character it's identifying, right, that is present, and it also gives you bounding boxes, right? So meaning it gives you the XY coordinates for each of the word that it is extracting from this image. And with this, what we do is, once we get the text identified from Comprehend, we're gonna map this and identify those particular pixels, and we are masking it. So that's the overall thought process in building this solution. So that's about image analysis, right? We saw text and image, how it could kind of do this. We also looked at spoke about identity verification. That's where we could use something like a face comparison or a face search, right, to kind of compare users different photographs to kind of authenticate them or identify their identity. So that is also again done through recognition. A couple of places where people have used image analysis, right? So one is UC San Diego. They have built an early COVID detector solution. They tried on a 22,000 annotated images by human radiologists to identify pneumonia in X-rays, and this has led them to triage patients early, and then to treat them better. Second place, again, image analysis. People have used this to kind of identify diabetic retinopathy, thereby helping them to kind of identify issues and prevent vision loss for a lot of patients, right? So that's something again they're done through collecting more than 80,000 images, and building a image analysis model to kind of identify this. So that's it. That ends the discussion on using computer vision or specifically recognition to kind of do analysis on your medical images. I'm going to touch base on a second kind of use case, which is personalization of consumer experience, right? So this is purely from the consumer standpoint. There are a lot of use cases in the health tech industry where we use something like a recommendation engine or a personalization service to kind of give a better customer experience. So some of the places where this could be recommendations or personalization comes in, and is the first one is recommending doctors based on patient search, right? There are a lot of portals which lets patients to search and book doctor appointments. Traditionally, what we do is we identify user based on location, segment them accordingly, like by age or gender, and then give recommendations based on few parameters, right? But with the advent of ML, we can do a lot of user behavior driven or similarity driven recommendations. So we'll quickly see how we can do that. And second kind of use case is where you can recommend a diet or food items, right? There are a lot of wellness driven products which kind of suggests an user what kind of food to consume, and based on their specification or preferences, right? So this involves a continuous capturing of feedback, and again, machine learning typically recommender systems can help solve such problems. The third use case for personalization and recommendations is there are certain e-commerce driven healthcare platforms. Again, they can leverage machine learning based personalization to kind of give relevant recommendation of products to their customers. So to build such systems, we have an AI service which is Amazon Personalize, much similar to what we saw with recognition, right? So what are the major advantages, or if I want to put them into three major advantages why Personalize can be used to solve such problems. One is this is a proven technology, right? So we have taken our experience from building recommendation systems with other Amazon businesses, and we have brought the same technology as a AI service. Second is this is a fully managed service. You don't have to worry about managing the infrastructure, nor worry about writing your own algorithm. Last point is it's state of the art, right? So we use state of the art deep learning techniques to build this use cases. So how do I go about getting started with this, right? Say personalization is pretty simple. You need to provide your data, give it, bring it on in some format, right? So let's look at what they are. If you have any interaction data, right? So suppose if you are an e-commerce platform for health tech, if you have users or their purchase history or a browsing history or a click-through history, or similarly, if you have user search or click-through history with you, or if you are using recommending, say, food products for user, if you have their purchase history or preference and so on, so you can bring those data, right, in terms of interactions. And then if you have any user data, like say user demographics or user preferences, again, those data you can bring in. And similarly for your products, like it could be for a food item, it could be a category or ingredients, things like that, right? Or it's a product, it could be again a category, subcategory, and so on. So that again, these are the three types of data you can bring in and give it to personalize. Personalize, it will just kind of do data engineering. It trains your model, tunes your model, and you can deploy your model, right? So it's a fully managed fashion, and you can deploy and start consuming this model. Additionally, what it also gives you is a feedback mechanism where you can feed live data and get relevant recommendations from them as well. So what are the three types of use cases where this can be leveraged, right? One is if you want to give recommendation based on what the user has based on how the user has interacted with your system. That's a user-based personalization you could do. Second thing is if you have new users, maybe they are looking at certain things, you can provide a recommendation similar to what they have viewed, right? So this is similar item or similar product-based recommendations. And lastly, if someone is searching on your platform, and you want to provide the search results based on the user, right? So rather than directly giving the search results, you can do personalized ranking. So this re-ranks the items or products based on the user. So that's pretty much it, what I had to cover, right? It's time for the next poll question. After that, I'll be handing it over to Kaushik to kind of complete the rest of the session. So this is about which AI service is a natural language processing is our NLP service. You will have some time to kind of check this out. While folks are answering the question, Kaushik, over to you for the last part of the last segment of the session.
Hey, thanks, Arun. That was a good demo. Let me share my screen. All right. I hope the poll is over and my screen is visible to you. With that, let me come to the second part of the session, right? Just applying intelligence in patient engagement. Now, Arun has talked about how personalization can improve consumerism or consumer experience. Broadly, there are a bunch of other services that can also help you improve your digital user experience. Arun talked about Amazon Personalize, right? Wherein there are services like Amazon Lex, which is essentially a service that lets you build a conversational agent and improve customer experience. And that's exactly what I'm going to demo to you, right? And if you look at some of the use cases that are available, I mean, in fact, using all these digital user engagement services, AWS was launching with, of course, partnership from Card19 Search, and it was able to pull in the data and using this open data set that's available from Card19, wherein you were able to search for various information about COVID, etc. Now, with that, let me jump into my demo in the interest of time. So this demo is about building conversational agent, right? So there are a variety of use cases. For example, you may want to build a bot to your website or probably in your mobile application for probably fetching information, or probably it could be a conversational bot to engage your consumer. Like for example, it could be a appointment booking experience, or it can sometimes be even productivity bot. What do I mean by that is I've seen people exploring use cases wherein a bot can augment the doctor-patient interaction. So for example, let's say a doctor is talking to a patient, and when doctor is prescribing a particular medicine, and let's say if the patient is allergic to that particular medicine, and it can pull in from the historical information of that patient, and it can write ahead and say, hey, you know what, in fact, just to the doctor side of it, and say, you know what, doc, this medicine is allergic to the patient. Would you like to kind of consider changing it, etc. Likewise, you can build productivity bot in healthcare use cases. And also it can augment your experience of contact center, right? And okay, let me show you in screen. By the way, we have recently launched a workshop which is available for you to try it out, which is qnabot.workshop.aws, right? It's something that I strongly recommend for you to try out, because this kind of deploys an entire stack of services. And again, this is the kind of stack that it deploys, which essentially has, for example, Amazon Lexbot and a bunch of lambdas for various functionalities to kind of handle sentiment, handle certain custom webhooks, where whatever you're typing in your UI can be pushed to Lambda for further connectivity with your backend, etc. Right? Which internally uses other ML services like Comprehend to detect sentiment of interaction. And also you can leverage Comprehend to probably extract into entities like name, and also extract medical entities and push it to various use cases, right? A typical workflow could be like this. When a user types in a question, the question is sent to Lex, meaning it has this natural language understanding and also speech recognition engine built in part of it. And then once the data is extracted based on the intent and fulfillment, it sends to the right lambda, right? And basis that, the Lambda can again push the data to Elasticsearch, so that when you do a search, you can, I mean, Elasticsearch lets you to do fuzzy searching, and it also lets you, it supports full text NLP search capability, right? And all those data is stored in Elasticsearch and indexed, and that indexed document can again be fetched using the same AWS Lambda in a serverless way, and the response can be sent back to user through Lex. And finally, you as an administrator can also look into the Kibana dashboard, which is a dashboard on top of this Elasticsearch, to further understand your user behavior, what kind of question they ask, what kind of format they ask, and you can go and fine tune your question. So when you deploy this application, wherein it's very straightforward, like I said, you just have to go to deploy, and you can deploy in the region that's specific for you, right? It has a CloudFormation stack that you can deploy in various locations. And once you deploy, you will get a Lexbot designer, right? Now you don't have to go to even like, Amazon console and create intents and slots and everything in Lex, whereas it is kind of handled by this design solution. If you see, I've simply created a bunch of questions. So before explaining the question, let me show you how the experience of this question is going to be, right? So this is the bot, which is output or client that you can embed in your website or mobile app, right? So let me ask question. I'm just typing begin. This could have been automated, but just wait. Now it says, welcome to your conversational bot, blah, blah. And then it also talks about some information. And it finally asks, please enter your first name and last name. Now let me enter my first name. And then it's going to detect and then asks my last name. I'm just saying R, and it's confirming it. It has detected that it's an entity and it's confirming. And now it's asking my age. And there you go. And I'm just giving my age. And if you see, the next question is about, have you been in contact with someone known to have coronavirus or also known as COVID-19? Yes or no? Now let's say I give yes. Then it takes me to the workflow that's relevant to yes. I'll also show you what will happen if I've given no, right? So to evaluate further, it's going to ask me symptom related question, right? So let me say, for example, no to this one. Okay, now it's asking whether I've been coughing for a few days. I'll say yes. And then fever, no. Are you experiencing shortness of breath? No. Just a couple of more. Are you having sore throat? Again, no. And any muscle aches? No. No. And would you like to do a quick review? Do you have any congestive heart disease, kidney disease, etc.? No. And do you have a weakened immune system? No. All right. Now that you say, it says based on this response, I'm not falling into the category where I need an attention of, I would say, a real person's interaction, or probably redirecting me to an emergency situation, right? I've just simply given all the information that is captured in the chat session for you, for your information, but you don't have to do this. Essentially, what would happen is you would have taken this data, pushed into Lambda, and then stored it for your further analysis, right? And after all of this is done, I'm also collecting the feedback. So let's say my feedback is awesome. I just type awesome, and it says the feedback is positive. I'm just presenting it again for your information. This is how you can build an overall experience. Now let me begin same example, but I'll take a different path. So for example, I'm just saying same thing, Kaushik and I can see 35, I'm confirming it. Have you been in contact with someone known to have coronavirus? Yes. Have you been told by public official or your employer that you may have been exposed to coronavirus, also known as COVID-19? Let me say no. Then I'll say, are you coughing? Yes. And I'll say, do you have fever? Let me also say yes. Now you see, since I have both cough and also fever, it has kind of saying that based on your symptom, it is important for you to be evaluated further. And this is where you can build your custom logic to transfer to a human agent, or probably you can schedule a call. And we have a service called Amazon Connect, using which you can set up a virtual contact center, or you can create your own application specific logic out here, right? And to build that, you know what, I only took, I would say 20-30 minutes to build this whole example. And it clearly explains how this particular workshop has all the examples and how to even build this kind of a workflow. And I've just followed a couple of steps using which I went back to this Lex designer, and then I've created this question. So how this branching has been created is, for example, you see that I'm asking this question whether you are exposed to COVID or not, right? Let's say I'm answering this question saying yes. You see, you have this COVID exposure, yes or no, right? When I'm saying that I'm exposed to COVID, when I say yes, it says transfer to agent. If not, it will take me to the next intent, which is have you started coughing? Likewise, it's just a bunch of easy form that you have to kind of enter the data. And in fact, it also lets you go and like, you know, add a response card. You can add Lex buttons, like, you know, how you would see normally in a IVR, or like, you know, option wise chat. And you can also add custom Lambda hooks through which you can push custom arguments from this all this session data, like, you know, username and other data, and then push back to your service, which in which you can trigger your own automation of it. Likewise, I was able to build this whole functionality in, like I said, like, you know, 15-20 minutes. I'm sure you can also do that. And you can build any use cases on top of it. This workshop also has some example that you can actually import right out of the box. It'll be fun to kind of check, right? You can see, like, you know, custom Java, I would say JavaScript hook, and there are some examples that you can try it out. Let me show you the Elasticsearch dashboard, right? So what happens is, based on whatever question I've been typing into the Lexbot, that data is pushed into Elasticsearch. And you see, this is the kind of keyword that I've been typing frequently on it. And you can also figure out, let's say, if these are some of these keyword for which I had no hit. So you would know that these are some questions that your users are asking, and you can build an intent based on your relevance, right? And it gives me many information about the number of requests that had positive, neutral, negative, and mixed reactions or sentiment, right? And you will also know whether it was mostly on voice or it's text-based question. Likewise, by the way, this also supports multilingual. And for now, I've added supports for like, you know, Espanol, or like, you know, French, and probably US English. But of course, you can take the Lex and build language based on the support that Lex offers to you. Now, this is how you can build an experience out of Amazon Lex, and you can quickly integrate your website, right? I strongly recommend you to go and try this workshop, which is qnabot.workshop.aws.com. Sorry, qnabot.workshop.aws, my bad. All right, now let me quickly jump into the next use case. So before that, again, I explained you the solution and all of that, right? Now let's talk about the other use case, which is extracting insights from medical document, which is a very common use case that we see in our healthcare industry and many other industry as well. Now it's very simple, right? So like how Arun was showing, where you can upload a document to recognize a recognition service that in fact detects the text and pushes to comprehend, and then you were able to extract the entity, which is probably protected information, basis that you were masking the data. In the same way, what happens here is, as a user, you can upload document which comes into API gateway and Lambda, which is totally serverless deployment out here, and it pushes through your Amazon tech stack. This is where, you know, I've shown you demo of how this can actually extract data of like, you know, for example, clinical notes, etc., right? That data can in turn be given to something like, you know, comprehend or comprehend medical, using which you can extract the data. Different APIs you can invoke to fetch either named entities, or like, you know, you can also extract protected information and then store it in the respective database as you require, and then you can do further processing, right? It's a very straightforward use case, and of course we have a solution that's available for you to try it out. You just have to go and search for document understanding solution AWS, and you can deploy that service in your solution in your AWS account and try this out. It's pretty straightforward. It has a beautiful document that you can leverage. Some of our customers, like for example, Anthem, who's one of the largest health insurance provider in the United States, have used this kind of a workflow in automating their claims processing. So here what they do is they've taken there is a provider portal on which they there is a data store where all the claims and invoices and also provider documents are pushed to this one. From there, it is pushed to a pipeline of data processing, which first starts with extract to do all the extraction of text, pushes to machine learning and pattern matching libraries, and then do a post processing. And based on the detected entities and confidence that is detected, it will further push to adjudication workflows, right? And benefits of using this, what Anthem was able to achieve is they were able to process and extract and digitize data quickly and process thousands of claims each day, right? And they were able to automate 80% of its claims workflow in using this solution. And they expect to reach 90% of 90% of automation or even higher on AWS by leveraging these services. In fact, when I talked about some of the Indian references before, I mentioned about Buddhimed, a startup from India who is actually leveraging Amazon Extract to extract some of the data in their claims process. All right, I think we are on time now. Let me quickly talk about some of the next step. We have talked about the 4 use cases, right? Medical image analysis and personalization of user experience, how to build a conversational agent by using something like Amazon Lex. And even, by the way, the same Lex can also be connected with Alexa. You can also attach with Pinpoint for your SMS kind of a conversation. You can even build an IVR solution out of it, right? And finally, we also looked into document understanding solution. Now, let's say if you are working on it, there are ways that we can actually help and collaborate with you as a customer, right? First is by enabling you by means of doing several immersion days, workshop, training and certification. And we train, I mean, this could be very focused based on your startup's requirement, right? It's practical education on ML which will kind of enable your workforce. And then we can also help you with proof of concept. We can in fact pair you with a team of ML experts from our side to identify a success criteria, and we can work on it. In fact, we can also help on AWS credits to kind of give to help you with building such interesting proof of concept. You just have to work with the account managers of AWS and feel free to reach out to them. And there are a bunch of programs like ML Jumpstart, where you'll get either AWS certified partner to move your ML solution to a production ready deployment with the funding support from AWS as well. Finally, you have professional services team which is part of AWS and also partner network. We also have a data scientist and a strong ML experts in-house who can actually work on a one-on-one engagements in building such POCs, and that you can actually leverage. And finally, we have this partner network who is vibrant, and we also have healthcare competency partner who understands the nitty-gritties of healthcare. It's not just about building when it comes to healthcare, right? It's also about securing patients' privacy and also making sure you're compliant to the requirement, I would say different certifications or requirement you might have, right? Depending on the country you are serving to. And we have partners like, for example, SourceFuse, Comprino, LogicWorks, Quantify, who has demonstrated experience in various aspects, and who can also help you in innovative and also building a cost-effective solution for you. With that, I'll stop my session with my final poll question. You've heard all of this, and there are much more ML use cases that we would like to talk about. Final poll is, when are you planning to start your AML journey? All right. I think you were able to answer this. Very straightforward. All right, let's end the poll. thank you all. With this, we'll come to the last part where I will stop my screen share and open it to the floor for question and answer. Gaurav, can you please help with?
So, Kaushik, we have a question from Shruti. First of all, thanks, audience. I mean, there were some wonderful questions, and one question from Shruti, which I thought is helpful wider audience, is which service is best for end-to-end patient services, like from getting appointments to medicines and finally getting them discharged?
I think I'll take it up from the healthcare use case perspective. I think you're talking about entire patient journey, right from the appointment all the way to getting discharged. I see various use cases. For example, if you take the first use cases of appointment itself, right? So you getting an appointment is where you can leverage services like, for example, building a conversational bot, like using services like Amazon Lex, and you can also have Amazon Pinpoint to promote to have a campaign to target your audience, to send personalized messages, and using which you can start appointment booking process. And after the booking is done, then comes the next process of real world challenges, like patients are not so happy about waiting too much in the hospital area. So this can again be solved by understanding the waiting time for that particular hospital. Using models, you can understand that based on the time, based on a particular time of the year, etc. And then based on which you can create slots, dynamical appointment slots, and then push relevant message to the users saying that you should, let's say your appointment is at 6:30. Then if there is a delay expected, you can tell users that, what, the delay might be pushed to probably another 20 minutes, so you may have to wait, right? Likewise, this is about the front door use cases or the reception use cases. Likewise, then comes when you say there is an interaction with the doctor, then you are capturing patient history information, and then you are also collecting vital information, which in turn can be fed into the EMR, EHR, which can further be taken, and then you can have some prediction mechanism to understand whether you are doing better. Let's say if you are having a chronic condition like diabetes, etc., whether you are doing better over a period of time, or if there is any anomaly that the model can pick it up and say, this pattern or the trend where patient is going is not so right? So this is about the doctor, or I would say OP use case. Similarly, you can build various use case for inpatient workflow and etc. And I would say it depends on the use case, and there are various services that you can leverage for solving some of those use case issues. Gaurav, was it? I mean, did I answer that fully, or did I miss anything?
Yes,
please?
Absolutely.
Right.
So I would encourage attendees to, if you have any question, please ask it in chat box or in the Q&A box. So Kaushik, I see one more question. All right, this anonymous attendee, sorry, this is not medical but a marketing question. What AWS services or products can a marketing agency can use to enhance acquire customer experience, also to increase customer revenue streams?
Arun, would you like to take it up? You are on mute, I guess.
Sorry, yeah, thank you. So marketing, typically you can leverage Amazon Personalize, and also combined with the Pinpoint, you should be able to trigger a personalized marketing campaigns to your customers. That's one. And also you could leverage Lex to kind of build your customer bots. Again, pretty useful when people are trying to interact with your business, right? So these are the two things which we could readily leverage from our AI services standpoint.
All right.
Yeah.
Another questions: can Anthem product help to cover paper prescription to database?
So I think the question is, can the product or the solution used by Anthem can be used to convert the paper prescription to a database, right? By the way, it's a proprietary product that they've built, but of course there are solutions. Like I said, there is this document understanding solution that's available in AWS Solutions portal. You can actually make use of that, deploy it and write yourself. It's very easy to build that pipeline. So for example, I showed you today, right, how you can upload a document to Textract using API. It could be, I mean, like Arun said, there are a bunch of languages that we support, and be it Python, be it JavaScript, etc. You can actually download those SDKs and then integrate with your application. So let's say in your case, you have a lot of bunch of paper, paper-based prescriptions. You can take the data, you can push it to Textract to extract the data, and then you can further send it to something like Comprehend Medical, or in fact even Comprehend, to detect that entity, like name, age. And once you have extracted tabular data, or key value data of medicine dosage and duration, you can then push it to the database. And even in fact you can connect to further e-commerce use case of creating an order for you, like for a patient to kind of order to different e-prescription, or medicine delivery services also. So yes, you can pretty much do that straight out of the box. And like I said, you can leverage document understanding solution, and there are a few blogs that you can actually search for in AWS blogs and case studies. Four more minutes. I think there was a question. I'll just pick from some of the previous ones asked by, which was again answered by Gauram in the interest of larger audience. Does it help in a multi-language diagnostic dark data extraction? Yes, I mean, these, again, it depends on the service that you are using. Let's say if it is Textract, then there are a set of services that are supported. Let's say if it is about extracting text using recognition, then obviously there is a set of language that is supported. But let's say if you are working on a language that is not supported by these services, that is where you can build your custom model. And in fact, there is this Amazon Translate service, which you can also leverage to, let's say there is a different language, you can extract the text and then push it to translate to convert to the language of whatever is supported by AI services like Comprehend Medical, push it to that and get that. But of course, obviously it would need further refinement. Or in fact, let's say if you're working on custom model that detects various languages, that is where you can leverage services like Amazon SageMaker, where you can kind of improve your efficiency in managing your MLOps, right?
So there's one more question, Kaushik. Are there anything specific being worked on FHIR fair?
So interesting question. In fact, that's very relevant for today. Like I said, I mean, FHIR is widely adapted. I showed you how Amazon Health Lake supports FHIR, right? So there is a service. In fact, Amazon Health Lake is not available for India, but there is this solution called FHIR Works on AWS. FHIR Works on AWS. There you can search in Google, and you can actually deploy that solution. Essentially, it is a FHIR store, meaning it has a bunch of APIs using which you can push FHIR data and then store FHIR data and query FHIR data. It uses internally Lambda. It's a totally serverless, and it has a CDK support, so it can automatically roll out in various region depending on the service availability, and you can store and manipulate FHIR data on it. Now, let's say you don't have FHIR data, but you only have HL7 data or probably some custom data. We have partner services. Like for example, we have partner like Redox, who has a connector that can convert HL7 data to FHIR data and then in turn push it to Firestore like this. You can build your own as well. Once you get the grip of how FHIR works, it should be easy. All right, I think we have hit the time. Thank you all for being patient, and I really appreciate for taking time and attending. I would appreciate if you take some time and giving us the feedback. So until next time, have a great evening, folks. Happy weekend, and thanks for joining. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks for joining.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye-bye.